Yo, it's Jeff Ross, my top left, right, fading, root, approval, at the LA, we grip, help burns out, at the hustle shift. This ain't hype. It's purpose and play. Building biz with soul, the laptop that way. Real AI, Peter Ming, grip with the boom sauce beat and a real talk tip. Look at the blue, hit play, let it roll. Nigga hero now, we just here to stole. Let's bounce, legend, in the heart of town, where kangaroos coaching, kings wear crowns. This is the laptop lifestyle dash show, boom sauce, baby.
All right, it's the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show, boom sauce, baby. Well, thank you very much. I've got my good friend here, Zoe Buckley from Learning Boosters, and we're just going to spend some time here in interview style. I love these interviews. This is where we can get down to the raw and real, and this is where I can introduce you to some pretty awesome hero makers. And I love to just do a quick introduction for Zoe, and then we're going to dive straight into this amazing interview and give Zoe a space and a platform to be able to share her heart, to share her vision, to share the mission that she's on. And we'll get into the space where you can figure out if this is a fit for you to work with Zoe and her beautiful services. So if you don't know Zoe, I'll get her to introduce herself and tell her story in a second. But let me just do a quick introduction. I've been working very closely with Zoe for the last few months, and I've gotten to know her pretty well. And I just love what she has to do with Learning Boosters. It's an absolute privilege to introduce, someone of Zoe's caliber who's doing truly life-changing work here in Tasmania, here in Australia, here in, our planet Earth. And I love the fact that Zoe is a powerhouse behind Learning Boosters, which is a tutoring service, but it's a different one. It's a little bit unique, right? It's got heart, it's got soul, and it's a space with real results. Zoe is a person that wears her heart on the sleeve, and she truly does care in the capacity in the spaces that she serves. She's not just teaching kids, she's unlocking their potential. Zoe blends personalized education with emotional safety, confidence building, and clarity, helping her students go from stressed and struggling to empowered and thriving. Whether your child is falling behind on the educational journey that they might find themselves, whether they're feeling lost or just needs that little boost of belief and direction, Zoe and her team are here to help make the learning journey joyful, supported, and successful. If you've ever wondered what it would look like to get that real help that someone's here to see your child for who they truly can be, not just academically, but emotionally and mentally, then this is the conversation that you need to tune into tonight. And this is the conversation that you want to explore what this looks like to take that next step, to glean in on Zoe's wisdom and the warmth that she brings to the camera here that you're going to see what I see tonight. And in the conversations that you could have with her as well, in the winning strategies to help your child ultimately shine. So Zoe, let's get into tonight's conversation. Let's start right with the heart of it all. You and I have had conversations around this in the past, but I'm broadcasting this now to my personal following, over 10,000 followers, and, going global here. So let's let the world see what I see. What inspired you to start Learning Boosters? And what was that moment that made you say, kids need more than just tutoring, they need this?
Thank you so much, Jeff. What a wonderful introduction. I feel quite honoured by that introduction. Thank you. Why did I start this journey? Well, I was in the school system for 20, 25 years, and I really got frustrated because being on the coalface, I saw the impact that what I was being told to teach the kids and the impact of what I wanted and what the kids needed. There was a huge chasm there. And I thought, what can I do to better help kids like the fact that they can do what they can do. They have their own special intelligence and superpowers. They don't need to feel dumb in their classroom.
Powerful.
And personally, as a child, I had learning difficulties myself. And back then was just, a couple of years ago. Back then, you didn't get help. You just muddled through. And I actually saw the system not functioning as these kids actually needed it to. And me feeling very frustrated, not being able to do what I could see they needed because of the constraints that we put in when we put in the school system.
Yeah.
And so I decided to branch out and help kids out of school hours. And then I thought, well, this is actually having an impact, and it's having the sort of impact that I wanted for these families and these kids. And so then I decided to ditch the job and to actually develop learning boosters. It's been a big journey, lots of learning for me too.
Yeah.
And lots of reaching out to people and getting people to help me in things that I wasn't sure about in the building of the business.
Right. So this
That's the
becomes
story.
a calling. It becomes a passion project. It becomes that space, if not me, who conversation, right? And
Yeah.
it becomes that calling space. And like you see a gap in the marketplace, you get frustrated because nobody else is stepping up to the plate to fill that gap. And it's going, right, we get to that space in our entrepreneurial journey. We go, right, well, instead of whinging about the problem, instead of calling it out, let's be part of the solution and let's step into that gap with grace. And but then there's a whole nother conversation that comes into that space, right? And going into this, it's not easy. It's not
No.
for the faint-hearted. So why do you stay here in this space to be able to, you've birthed something, you're going through the growing pains of it all, but like, what makes you dig in? What makes you want to really do what you do in this space?
Because it's a calling. And I know that might sound a bit corny to a lot of folk. They go, oh, yeah, right, of
Yeah, yeah.
course. It's not, if I can honestly say it's not about the money.
Mm.
Because if I was just in this for the money, I wouldn't be doing it.
Hey, most
Because as
would
we are
say that.
aware, business takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's what it is for me is noticing in kids what I went through as a kid, not wanting them to be in the same position that I was in, and
Mm.
to make it easier, make them feel more whole, make them feel, not make them, sorry, show them and help them,
Yeah, be
show them
part of
that
the
they are
filter.
actually quite normal, that what they're
Yeah.
going through is normal. So yeah, that's what keeps me there, is the fact that I'm helping others. That's a necessary thing for
Yeah,
me.
right. And when we understand that why that makes us cry, we go through the sacrifice to make it work, right? And it is a sacrifice,
Mm.
time, energy, and money. At times it can be exhausting and it can be soul depleting. But these are the things that, like, people like you and I, we're cut from the same cloth, that we need to go through the shit, so to speak, to get to the promised land, to climb the tough mountains, to because if not who, like, if not you, then who else? Like, nobody else is
Mm.
going to do it for us, right? But it is that calling piece. And this is why
Mm.
we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for calling that out. Thank you for leading with the why of this piece, because people don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it, and they connect to
Mm.
that why. So if you're watching here and tuning in, I know we've got a people, from our community here. I can already see, Daryl Simmons, mate, you're an absolute legend in the way that you show up. Let us know where you're tuning in from around the world. If you're watching the replay later on, just put hashtag replay and let us know where you're tuning in from, because we want to know how wide and far this message goes. But drop a 1 in the comments there for me if you're already connected to Zoe's why and you're ready to rock and roll, because this is where we're going to do a deep dive and unpack this. So Zoe, what's the biggest difference between traditional tutoring and the way Learning Boosters supports your students? What makes your approach feel different for the kids and the parents?
It's one-on-one. It's individualized. It's
Mm.
I particularly plan specially for that child, where they're at, where they need to be, what it is they're wanting to do themselves as well. Because if we give them ownership of what it is that they're learning,
Well, like that.
you've got half the battle done.
Mm.
If they have a reason for doing what they're doing, like I was working with a 9-year-old, not a 9-year-old, sorry, year 9, grade 9 student the other day, and she's going, but I don't understand why I have to learn this. And
Mm.
I go, well, it just depends what you want to do when you get older.
I don't need to
You know, you might decide you want to be a plumber or an electrician or a builder, and that's where this type of maths comes in handy. And as soon as she had the idea of what she could do with that particular part of maths, she was in it. So the thing that I do is I look at the child holistically. I look at why there might be a learning difficulty. And this is not what the schools do. They just pigeonhole the child. They name the issue that they have, and then that child takes on that persona, rather than looking at the child and saying, you know, hey, what do you perceive you need to help with? And even with the young ones, even with like 5-year-olds, I can say, hey, mum and dad have brought you here today. Do you know why? And they go, oh, yeah, because I'm not good at this or I'm not good at that. And I go, yeah, but what do you think about that? So I'm giving them actual ownership of what they want, what they perceive they want, and then I'm directing it. So I'm like a big director.
You know, I love.
So they get an input. They get a personal input into it.
You're
Which the
giving
schools
the child
don't do.
a
They can't.
I
Yeah,
love.
they can't do that.
There's no cookie cutter approach here. There's no one size fits all. But there are frameworks there. Look, I love, and this straight away, I set this whole conversation up. I saw you as a hero maker, right? And that's what a hero maker does, is they empower and equip other people, even children, to be the leaders of their own world and in that space. And this is what you're doing. Right? You're setting the leaders of the next generation.
You know, and that they're important in the conversation. A lot of parents go, oh, I've actually never thought of asking my child what they wanted, you know, little 5-year-old. Are you sure they know what they want? And I said, well, you just heard what they said, because we're talking afterwards. I don't talk in front of the child, but I'm talking to the parent afterwards.
Healthy boundaries.
You heard what they said. You tell me, what do you think? Do you think your child is capable of letting you know what they need? And of course, the answer is yes. Doesn't matter how young they are.
I reflect on a
cluey these days, kids.
I reflect on a book that I read, you know, questions are the answers. And you have a uncanny ability, and this shows that you're actively participating in the listening game to be able to ask the right questions. You know, and that's something that I recognize and I see in you. You know, not many people have the ability these days to be able to really actively participate in the listening game. And to be asked to be, you know, to get good answers, we need to ask good questions. We need to get powerful answers. We need to ask powerful questions. It's a
But you
beautiful.
know what, Jeff? Sometimes you can ask the wrong question, and that's how you learn as well. So I might be actively listening, and I might say to a child, "Oh, what I'm hearing you say is this," and they go, "No, no, it's this," and I go, "Oh, right, okay." So they're actually learning. Making mistakes
It's
is
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And we need to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, folks listening out there. The education system does what it was functioned to do, what it was first developed
Very,
to
very
do,
well.
which is 200 odd years ago, we needed readers and writers, okay, so that they could work. But what I'm trying to do now with education and teaching kids and young people is that it's different now. The world is very different. We've got all sorts of things like AI and all the rest of it, great tools coming through that we can actually use that are not being used in schools. It's still a lot of pen and paper stuff. I do some of that myself, but a lot of it is games and questioning and what do you think, and getting them to actually think analytically and logically, as well as sometimes kids will go, I'm not doing that. So there'll be an emotional response. So, okay, I say to them, okay, your response is valid. I see your response. Let's think of it this way. What do you think about the fact that your response just then was emotional? Are you afraid? Are you feeling XYZ? And we'll talk through it. And I'll say, it's okay to feel that, but let's feel it, recognize it, let it go, and let's move on. And one particular girl I'm currently working with at the moment, she is very on the emotional side of the brain, and not much logic. So we're not flipping that about totally. So, because I don't want her to lose the emotional side, but I want her to also develop that logical side. I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this, I want to do this, but is that the best thing to do? So we're
Yeah.
flipping from the emotional into the logical. And I think that's where the current education system doesn't look at that. They don't look at how the child responds to things. They don't look at family history, which has a lot to do with a lot of the students I work with, like wards of the state. They no longer live with their families for particular reasons. You know, there's lots of trauma and emotional baggage and stuff like that there that stops the child from actually learning. And unfortunately, in the education world at the moment, there's no room for that, or not a lot of room for that.
Mm.
Children are expected to behave, they're expected to sit still.
It's good
I
form.
mean, look at us talking. I'm gesticulating, I'm moving about, you're moving about, no one sits still. Okay. So that's where I think the education system currently is letting kids down and letting young people down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, in the pressures of the systems that we find ourselves, so many parents are overwhelmed and they're just not even sure where to start, in this space. And as we know, a confused mind takes no action. So
Yeah.
what would you say to a parent who feels stuck, who feels unsure if tutoring isn't even the right next step for their child?
Sure. Well, the first thing that we do is we get on what I call a discovery call. And on that call, I will ask specifics about the child, what the parent perceives to be whatever it is, issues. I don't like that word, but I'll use it here because people can relate to it. What the parent hears the school thinking the issues are. And I will look really and think really and listen really carefully between those lines. And then I will say to the parent, I'm hearing that you are frustrated with your school, with your teacher. I'm hearing that you're not getting the assistance you think your child needs and that the testing is telling you they need,
Mm.
and you're at the end of your tether. 9 times out of 10, they will cry and they will go, oh my God, I feel heard.
Mm.
Someone is listening to me. And okay, I'll say to them, okay, this is what I suggest we do. We get your child in. I give them some things to do in maths and English to see exactly where they're at, how I perceive they learn, because I use intuition quite deeply and quite a lot with when I'm meeting new students. And as we'd be aware, within the first 10 seconds, we make our minds up about somebody.
Yeah.
Right, I will make up that mind about that particular parent or child or whatever. But then what I will try and do is not stay stuck in that, because sometimes my perception of them changes during the session
That's beautiful
or the
recognition
plan or
and
whatever.
beautiful wisdom in that. And once again, I just love the ability that you have to help people feel seen and valued and heard, because that is
You
what a
can't move
safe.
forward. The parent can't move forward. The child can't move
No,
forward if they don't feel valued in what they're thinking and feeling,
yeah, but it's
which is
also,
valuable.
look, to be honest, what you do is in that space when you see people and value people, you're creating
Mm.
not just this consumeristic culture that you're the tutor, the tutor, they're the student. What I see you creating is a true symbiotic partnership,
Yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
get just as much as they get and take and receive and all of that. But it's that partnership in that guiding process, right? You're the guide on the journey, the leader on the journey to help them, to shape them, to guide them. But You're not there trying to create a codependent relationship. You're there to create an empowerment one, a one that's equipping one. I see just a beautiful leadership conversation, and the fact that you're focusing on a leadership conversation with even as kids as young as 5, well, that gives me goosebumps because that's what the world really needs and more today, right?
Yeah, look, for sure. And the thing is that I feel that I would not be doing my job properly, job for
Mm.
want of a better word, or what I do
What
properly,
you're calling,
if
yeah.
I'm not considering what's going on with the parent-child relationship, what's going on in the child's mind, what's going on in the
Yeah.
parent's mind. Because you cannot teach a child anything if they are traumatized,
Mm.
think they're dumb, think they're unvalued, think they're unworthy. The whole brain capacity and all the pathways shuts down.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot teach
Where we're
a child
operating.
that is in that sort of fight, flight
Yeah, well,
response.
when we're in that emotional survival response, we're operating
Yeah,
out of survival mode.
yeah.
And to get into that high energy and that high creative space, we need to be operating out of a high vibration. And so
Mm,
this is about getting your students prepared to be in that space so we can do the real work that needs to be done, right?
yeah,
Beautiful. I love
absolutely.
that. So, guys, I've just dropped the link in. Actually, it's hot off the press. Mr. Dave Miller's just hit publish on our funnel there for the discovery call. So, if you're looking to explore what this looks like to partner with Zoe, to just have a conversation with Zoe, it is $160 to jump into that discovery call and spend that deep dive. This is one that's worthwhile taking the time to explore this, so you can go all in. And Zoe's going to do what she does in that space to explore that it's a good fit, that it's going to be able to set your child up for success. So highly encourage you to look at that. If you want to have a conversation with Zoe before committing to that, I'm sure she's available. She'll put her hand up and she'll have that discussion to see that's a good fit too. Make sure that you hang around to the end of this discussion because we're going to announce our 5 winners that we have been promoting for the last month there and give you an opportunity to win one of our free discovery calls valued at $160. Now, if you would like to be a part of that competition, you're watching live now, just put up your hand and say, yes, me. I'll add your name to the list when we make sure we draw it and you can be part of that competition. So, Zoe, as we're talking about this discovery call, what does that first discovery call look like? If somebody's watching this later on and wants to book that in with you, what can they expect from that initial conversation?
Yep. Well, there's two actual steps before tutoring itself. So the first step is the discovery call, where we get on the phone, or I can get on Zoom if you want to do it face to face. Either of those is fine. Most of the time it's phone call, and we chat. We chat about your child and again what you perceive the difficulties are, what the school perceives the difficulties are, what you're thinking, what your budget is, all that sort of stuff. And I will give you some pointers. Sometimes on the discovery call, um, we have parents who just go, yep, just, sign me up, whatever. From that point, we then go to the discovery session, which is when we get together. And again, this can be done online if you're elsewhere and not in Tasmania, southern Tasmania, near me. And online works perfectly well because it's still individualised, it's still one-on-one, it's still face-to-face. So then we get into the discovery session where I'll give your child those things that we've discussed in the call. I will give them English, maths things to do, either or both. And then from that, I can gauge where they're at, what we need to do, whether there's some foundational things missing. So it's like building a house. If you don't have a really good foundation, your house is going to fall down.
Hmm.
So what we look at is those foundational things first, and
Hmm.
then whether they are ready for, because sometimes I do gifted children as well. I have gifted students as well, homeschooling students, all sorts.
It's a really great exploration journey in that space. Actually, a metaphor that just come to mind is, if I'm going to go buy a house, I want to get a building inspection done before I buy that house, right? So I have to invest into that
That's
building.
what this call is all about.
Yeah,
Whether we're a good fit, whether you feel comfortable with
yeah,
me, I feel comfortable with you, all that sort of stuff. Before any money is dished out,
yeah. I
right?
love
That's
that.
actually free.
Oh,
Then we go into the discovery session where it's more me working out what the child needs. Now, the other thing that happens is that once I've got the kid to do a few things for me, they leave the room. I will not talk about the child in front of the child. And I've noticed in a lot of parent teacher things, they have the child there and they're talking about the child and their issues.
every
And
parent teacher
no,
interview I've ever been
sorry, it's not good. It's not mentally good for kids.
to.
So I'll ask the child, because I have a little lounge room here, to please go out there and there's some games and things out there and books and things they can look
You know
at
what? Now I know
while
that. I'm
mum,
actually
dad, or I, or whoever, have a conversation about what I perceive the difficulties are, where they're at, where they need to be, and any psychological things that I've picked up on, or dyslexia is something I can have a look at, those sorts of things. Then from there, we will discuss regular tutoring. And I do tell my parents it's going to be more than a term.
Yeah.
Most parents come with the idea, we'll do 10 sessions and they'll be better. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. So I'm thinking long term, and then we discuss when and money and time and all the rest of it.
The logical side of it all, right? So
Yeah.
actually, you've just given me a really valuable tip there as well, just in this conversation. As a father of three boys, my oldest is in year 7, my youngest is in year 3. When I do parent teacher interviews from here on out, will be taking that tip and making sure that my child's not
Yes,
sitting there.
please.
We put that boundary down.
You wouldn't believe the things the kids are so cluey these days. You
Yeah,
wouldn't believe the things that they pick up. Just the nuances and how you talk and your tone.
yeah,
They will pick up on that and they will think, oh, there's something wrong with me. And that will sit with them. That
yeah,
will stay with them. It's doing them
yeah,
damage.
yeah. No, so thank you very
Truly.
much for just sharing that valuable tip here for myself and for our audience here is watching today. I really appreciate you for that. So, what's one thing you want every parent to know what is possible for their child, no matter where they're starting from?
That they are normal, they are individual, they have their own superpowers. They
Mm,
do not fit into a little box, neatly into a box, because nor do we as an adult. They have all their twists and turns and tantrums and all the rest of it, just like we do as adults.
yeah,
And that love them for who they are and what they are, and we can work on the rest.
yeah, I love that. Sorry, I'm just putting our names in here. People are putting their entries in for our competition that we're about to draw.
Excellent.
Mr. Darrell Steen. So, of course, Dave Miller's put his hand up to be in. So, I'm sure we can be generous and put Dave in.
Oh, I think so.
All the work and effort that he's put in as well. So, guys, we're about to go and draw this entry in a second. So, if you want to give you just a last minute shout out there, whilst we are collecting last minute names here. Zoe, before we go and draw these entries and, these amazing winners here for this lucky draw prize, and essentially what it is, guys, is the discovery call that we've been talking about tonight is going to be up for grabs. We're going to give 5 lucky people the opportunity to win this discovery call, to explore what it looks like to work with Zoe in that space. And so my beautiful wife has just put her hand up to be in the draw as well. Thank you for your support.
Wow.
We've got a few names here. We're about to draw that. Zoe, before we do, just to give you an open mic space, what is one thing that's on your heart right now that you want to share with the world? And just, what is the thing what's the message you want to leave our audience with before we move on?
One thing. Oh, Jeff, that's just too much. Every child has the right to feel empowered, to feel normal.
Mm,
I'm not dumb. That would be my message, that they are normal.
Yeah. I'm going to sit with that for a bit. That's powerful. Let's go a bit deeper. I think we need to.
Right?
What's that one thing? What's that one thing that you're standing for, that you're standing against? What's that one thing that enough's enough that you've got to call out, that you're sick of the injustice, or whatever it is, that you want to see a better, brighter world for it all? What's that thing?
Oh, goodness me. That's a real toughie. What's one thing? I would like schools to look at the possibility of, and it is possible, I've seen it in other countries, it's happening all over the world. Denmark is amazing, I might add.
Mm.
Changing the system.
Yes.
Changing the system
Yes.
is my one thing.
We're so,
You have teachers that just want itching to help,
yeah. My
and they don't get it because they're very caught up in writing the learning plans, justifying what they're doing, why they're doing it, all the rest of it, to jump through those hoops.
I
And
love
I
that.
think teaching is too tied up in that these days, and not enough about the teaching side of it. And I
Yeah.
think we have to go back to the nurturing side, so we've got those curious, happy, empowered learners.
Let's call it out, and I'll call it out so you don't have to. As a parent here, what I feel the teachers are, there's some beautiful teachers out there, but the system
They're being crushed.
is crushing them. My mother was one of them. She retired last year because of this reason. And I'll share a little bit about that in a second. But what I see is teachers are so caught up in the system of having to protect themselves
Yep.
so they don't get sued, so the school doesn't get sued, so blah 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 doesn't get sued. And because of that, they're so caught up in the regulation and the documentation and
And the
the
rules.
paperwork and the rules, and the system is just broken and under its own weight and pressure. And I feel that as a parent.
Yep.
And in the
That's
world,
why I stopped teaching in the schools, Jeff.
yeah,
It
you
was
know,
squishing anything creative that I had.
yeah,
Like in the corner of my classroom, I had a little shop set up with pretend money and stuff. So I was teaching the kids about the value of money, what a shop meant, how to do change, reading the labels on things. So there was lots, and I was
practical,
told
real
by the
world stuff.
principal,
Yeah,
that's not the way we do things at this school. That needs to be closed down.
that's sad.
It is sad.
It's just sad.
Yep.
My beautiful mum, she's at retirement age, so she's given her life to teaching. She was a teacher's aide, going on at least, geez, I've lost count, 25 years or more. And
Yeah.
she got to a point now where it's the same thing. Like, she just could not give her heart and soul into the teaching side of things, so she chose to retire this year. And she's free, she's got a new lease of life for that, that type of thing. But there was pressure off the system that sort of forced that decision.
Mm.
And we're losing too many good teachers
Mhm.
because of this, this conversation.
Yep.
So I love that, the fact that you haven't gotten better about this, that you've chosen to be a solution creator about it, and you're doing something different, not just better, but pivoting and adjusting and offering a fresh, new sense of life to this conversation.
Thank you.
So thank
That's
you
what I
for
would like
being
to happen.
Yeah, so thank
Yep.
you for being that advocate for change and to do things better, and to be in a more powerful system. Actually, Bronwyn Holm has just commented on here. She's another change maker and a way maker and disruptor in her own space, in the agriculture and the farming surround. It's funny how
Right.
we tend to attract, people of the same vibe, right? The same cut of cloth.
Yep.
We're frustrated. We're pissed off really with broken systems in a way to a point where it gets a little bit angry about it, and that's a righteous anger. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a
Mm.
passion to see a better, healthier, brighter, more joy-filled world in a broken system.
Yep. Yep.
So, Zoe, it's been my absolute pleasure to be able to share your heart here with our community tonight. Let's go over here and go to our Wheel of Fortune, our Wheel of Names, and we'll draw
Righty.
our lucky winners here for this competition. And then I'm going to show people how they can partner with you and how they can explore what it looks like to work with you. So we've got 5 entries. This is the competition that we're giving you here. This is the discovery call here. So you can click on that funnel. I did share it in the comments here. So this is what we're doing. We're giving you the opportunity to book in that one-on-one session with Zoe yourself to explore what it looks like to do a deep dive in there. And I'm sure there's going to be loads of wisdom and loads of light bulb moments, and you'll walk away from that conversation refreshed and equipped and charged up and empowered. I am positive that that will be the end result. So let's go over here. We're going to draw 5 lucky winners. You ready, Zoe? Ready for the drum roll?
I'm ready. It's
Let's do
exciting.
it. All right, so here's the first one. Who have we got? Drum roll, please. We have. That's so funny.
Believe it.
Mr. Dave Miller. Do we give him it or do we give him a pass? I don't know. Your choice, Zoe.
Oh, look, let's give him a pass. He works hard.
All right. Mr. Dave Miller, you are our lucky winner for number 1. All right, we've still got 4 more. We've still got 4 more to go. I'm just going to take a screenshot of that so we've got a record of it. And let's do our other 4. All right, let's go. Now, if you've already won once, you can't win again. We'll have to redraw. All right. We have a Helen Lilly. Okay, Helen, if you're watching, please make sure that you reach out to Zoe to claim that prize. We will be in touch, but you've just won yourself a $160 voucher there for a discovery call with Zoe.
Brilliant.
All right,
Well done, Helen.
let's just take a quick screenshot of that one. All right. All right, let's do number 3. Our lucky winner number 3 is, who we got? Drum roll, please. Is Janine Ullman. I'm going to pronounce Ullman. Ullman. You are our next lucky winner. Let me take a screenshot of that one. And we've still got 2 more to go. Let's go. And our next lucky winner is, drum roll, please. You think I could be a carny? I could be one of those carnival announcers, right? You know? Imogen Delphin. Well, congratulations, Imogen. And we have 1 more. That is 4. Let's go to 5. Who is our next one?
Lucky last.
All right. Lucky last. We have Sonia Bell. So Sonia Bell, congratulations.
Hey.
All right. Well done. You are our 5 lucky winners. We'll be in touch with you. Please reach out to Zoe to claim your prize. Congratulations. You've won yourself a discovery call with Zoe. Anything else you want to mention about that before we move on, Zoe?
No, just congratulations, everyone. Please get in touch. Please use those vouchers, and I will look forward to chatting to everybody.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, if you've been watching, this has been a pretty amazing call. I do say myself. You know, if this is something that in your gut just says, this is the person I've been looking for who can help my child, trust that. Our gut instincts are there for a reason. They're there to guide us and shape our decision making. Some of us don't listen to that intuition enough. So trust that gut instinct. You know, head over to learningboosters.com.au to explore what it looks like to do a deeper dive with working with Zoe. Go book that discovery call with Zoe. If you didn't win, okay, just book the call. It's only $160. You know, it's a meal out for 2. Be able to set up your child for a very successful, prosperous future. It's a very small investment. So jump in, explore what it looks like, find out what it looks like to give your child the boost they truly do deserve. Zoe, you're doing an incredible work. And I'm absolutely grateful to partner with you in the capacity that I do, to be able to help you to be part of helping you to shine your light, not just today, but in the months to come, and help you to create that big, beautiful lighthouse on top of the hill, to be that light and salt of the earth, to be able to help transform this broken system, to be a part of the solution, and putting our children first and foremost, and helping to create the next generation of leaders of tomorrow. Thank you
very much for having me.
All right. An absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your time, guys. That's a wrap for tonight's interview, and we will call that a close. Zoe, any last words that you want to share before we close out?
Just to say thank you for having me, and it's been fabulous to talk to everybody, and I hope to hear from some of you.
Brilliant. So please do reach out to Zoe. And if you're watching the replay where we host this on YouTube or anywhere else that we decide to host it later on, this is one of those pieces of content that's evergreen. And, yes, prices may have changed if you're watching this 12 months or 18 months down the road, but it's still worth the opportunity to reach out and inquire and discover. Just take that next step, and explore what it looks like for yourself to working with Zoe and her beautiful team. So thank you very much for giving us the space to be able to share this amazing opportunity, this amazing service to the world with you all. We're actually going to probably be back with Zoe in probably about another 3 to 4 weeks' time, and we'll do this all over again. This is part of the service that we're offering. What Dave and myself and Jade, what we're going to do is we're going to start creating a community called Hero Makers. And so we're going to celebrate and put the spotlight and the floodlight onto a lot of the hero makers that are in our sphere of influence. This is just the start of that process. So Zoe, thank you. Looking forward to a very bright and prosperous future together. Let's rock and roll. Thanks for your time. And everybody who's out there, bye for now. We'll see you on the next one.